Season 10, Episode 1. Welcome, everybody, to the We Dream Media podcast. I am your host, Mitchell Scott. My co-host, April, she won't be here with us this month, but she will be with us next month. This month, we're really excited to bring you this podcast, Season 10. What we're going to be talking about is how We Dream produces our podcast episodes. So each episode, we record a podcast, and we do it remotely. There's some equipment involved. There's also, it's pretty cool because it's kind of on different sides of the spectrum. A lot of equipment, less equipment. So we kind of cover a lot of the gambit here. So it's really cool how we were able to put it together, and we think it's valuable to share with you. Just share with you how we do our podcast, how we produce it. Also, I'm not going to get into the super deep end of all the gear and things. There's going to be a lot more people on YouTube and different ones to do that better than what we can. So I'm not going to get down into the nuts and bolts of how things work and all the geeky stuff. What I'm going to talk about is the things that we use and the why behind things that we use, the reason why we do things. So that, I think, is more important than exactly what we use. So I will be showing some pictures of things, listings of the equipment that we use, just to give you kind of a starting place, and then you can kind of take it from there. If you have any questions, you can DM us. You can comment on whatever your platform is that you're watching this on. So anyways, let's kind of go into this. First up, what I'm going to do is this first episode is going to be talking about the gear, the actual cameras and lighting and audio equipment that we use. The next episode, what we're going to be talking about is the software that we use to cut everything together, to put all the music and the opening logo and things like that. And then the last episode, we're going to only have 3 episodes this month. And what we're going to do on that last episode, that third episode, is talk about ways to use the content distribution, all the uses that we can do just with one episode. So first up, what we're going to do is talk about the gear. So what's really cool is, in previous episodes, we've talked about how April's more of a pencil. She lives her life as a pencil, where she just kind of fast and loose. She gets the job done. It's going to be good. It's going to be good quality. But she's a little bit quicker to the punch. She's able to get going pretty quick. And one of the ways that she feels comfortable doing that is she uses kind of a pencil mentality. If she messes up, it's okay. We'll just erase it, or maybe even mark it out and just kind of start again. But that's kind of her philosophy, which is fine. If there was only 2 people in this world, that was one. Number 2 would be more of a permanent marker, and that's me. That's how I just kind of think of life in most ways, not every single way, but definitely when it comes to being creative and putting together a podcast, it's definitely something that's just how I do it. It's just kind of my general way, that my go-to, how I'm wired, if you want to use that phrase. So again, when it comes to recording this podcast, it's definitely represented in that way. So prime example is, again, the gear where they use for the podcast. So what I'm going to do is explain what April's gear is and what my gear is. So April's gear, it's very simple. It's cell phone. Sometimes, most of the time, she uses her webcam on her laptop, and that's her camera. Now, you can't really tell it because of some lighting gear that she has, which we'll get to a little bit later. But it's really simple. April has her own podcast, so she's been doing, I think she's getting close to 500 episodes. She's 400 and some odd episodes right now, which is insane. Great job. And most of those episodes, if not all of them, well, no, actually not all, because We Dream produced a few seasons where we used the camera, lighting, and everything, professional gear. But she used her cell phone or her laptop camera, which is fine, but that's what she uses, and that works well for her. She's able to get everything that she needs and hit all of her goals with that, and also with our podcast, we're hitting the quality standards that we're looking for, and so that's what works. Me, on the other hand, I've been a photographer for around 15 years or so, and then the last 5 years I got into video, so I'm going to have plenty of camera gear, I'm going to have video gear, I'm going to have lighting, I'm going to have mics, I'm going to have recording devices, all these things, and that's what I use. In my mind, I'm going to put my best foot forward, and if I have it laying around and I'm not using it on a job, I might as well use it. I'm going to make this as best as I possibly can. So on my camera, it's a professional video camera. I have a professional, actually I'm using 2 mics. I have one on my camera and I have one here. We'll be using this one, and again, I'll get into that in a little bit later. But again, that's just kind of me. So I would suggest to use what you have. You don't have to start out the gate and level up as high as you possibly can or what your budget would allow you, or get into debt on any of this stuff. You don't need to. You can simply use a cell phone. You could even use the mic on the phone, which again, April has done that more than once, and it'll enable you to put your content out there when you're ready to start a podcast or go live or go, whatever medium that you're looking to use. So at the very least, you have your cell phone. You most likely have a laptop or some sort of camera on your computer, maybe a webcam. I mean, since 2020, everyone kind of has a webcam nowadays. So yeah, I mean, just use what you have. And if you have some camera gear, maybe, I don't know, a passing hobby and just kind of laying around, and if you have questions, just let us know and I'd be glad to help you. So the next thing is audio. Now, anyone in the pro world will tell you this, that audio is priority number one, and obviously video is a close number two, but audio is extremely, extremely important. And I'll go into why. So right now, all my kids are hopefully asleep, and I'm recording this at night. But during the day, and April and I have recorded our podcast during the day, and I have kids around, they're going to be stomping their foot. This is an older home, so you're going to kind of hear the foot stomping in a lot more places. I have a 1-year-old, I have a 5-year-old. They're going to be making a lot of noise. My older 8 and 11, they're probably going to be bickering at one another. So you're going to hear, even with the door shut, a lot of noise in the background. Just the other day during the podcast, a siren was going on in the background outside. And obviously there's nothing you really can do about that other than how you record. So both April and I use what's called a dynamic mic. And the reason why that's important is everything on this mic on the sides, you can't really hear. The way it's designed, you don't really hear anything coming from the side, or you don't really hear anything coming from the back. And I'll just kind of demonstrate this with my kind of snapping my fingers here a little bit. So kind of hear that a little bit, right? Just pretty normal. And then off to the side, gets a little bit muffled. And all the way in the back here. All the way in the back. So that's how these dynamic mic works. It doesn't hear anything from the side. Well, you hear it, but it's very muffled. And especially if it's 10 feet further back, a door shut, walls, you very likely will not hear it. Or when you're all the way in the back, you won't. It gets very muffled. So these dynamic mics works very well. You know what I mean? It works very well when it comes to podcasting. If you watch a podcast, even on where they have teams of people that produces it, you'll see that they'll use mics similar to this. Again, both of us have dynamic mics and it works out very, very good. Also, and again, we'll get into this in the next episode, but with a little bit of tweaking in post or after everything is recorded in your software that you use, especially nowadays, there's a ton of AI tools. You may be able to just make a click. And if you do hear something in the background, or if your audio is kind of garbage, you might want to try tuning it up a little bit, either manually or using AI tools. So anyways, a lot of good options there. I will say this, when it comes to your mic, I would suggest you use a dynamic USB mic. So I do highly suggest on your dynamic mic, if you are shopping, if you're looking to level up, if you don't have one of these, and if you are looking to get one, which I do kind of suggest that. It's not required by no means. But when you're ready to level up, one of your first purchases needs to be a dynamic mic. When you are looking for one, when you are shopping for one, look for one that is a USB connection, one that has a USB connector where you can connect it from your mic directly to your laptop. Usually it's a USB-C, so a USB-C connection from your mic to your laptop. And what that's going to do is that all the recording is recorded directly to the computer. If you don't have one of those, you'll need what's called a audio interface or just an audio recorder. You can go that route for sure. That's the route that I take, and that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, is that I'm actually recording directly to an audio recorder, and later on in post, I'm going to add that audio, the pristine audio, to the recording and not use the mic that's on my camera. And that again is because, I don't know, maybe I'm bougie. I don't know. It's just what I do. So now with April again, she uses a USB dynamic mic and it connects from the microphone directly to the computer. It's powered that way. It's very, very convenient and you get excellent, excellent quality. I don't know, especially if you go with like the top 5 brands, top 5 sales on Amazon or wherever your fancy is. you'll probably get a really, really good one, and it's going to sound great and it's going to be easy to use. So dynamic mics are fantastic for podcasting. Also, if you're able to find one dynamic with USB-C connection, that's going to be really good for you. So next up is going to be lighting. And that's kind of one of my favorite things as far as recording video. I just really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for me. It's kind of like painting with lighting. I know, it's kind of weird. I did it thinking about it, and when I was shooting photos and doing video, it just adds a lot of creativity opportunity for me, and I just really enjoy it. What's cool is that in the podcasting world, there's going to be a ton of opportunity, or a ton of options when it comes to lighting, really in general. But when it comes to podcasting, you have some kind of cool things about it. So let me give you, for instance, April's angle. She's using her camera on her laptop, and she has one light facing directly at her. Okay. It always stays there. She doesn't have to set it up every time. It's small, it's compact, but it suits her needs, and she always leaves it up. She never takes it down. And so she's found a light that works great for her, and it's kind of semi-permanent. She never really moves it, and it works great for her. I'm the same way. I have one big light right here that faces directly on me. It's usually from the side, so you kind of get some shadow a little bit on one side and lit up on the other, and that's just kind of a lighting video trick. It's more pleasing to the eye. And then also I have a backlight, so I have a light facing here, and it illuminates this side. It also illuminates the background, so you can kind of see my shadow. Yeah, there it is. So right there. And that I do move. I move it out of the way. I use some batteries so that it can be easily transported, but that light I do tear down, but this light always stays up. Sometimes I use it to work. It's a work light, but also it's a podcast light that I use here too. So when you shop for lighting, this is the reason why you use lighting on any kind of video. And if you record your video for your podcast, this is your goal for it. This is the why behind it. What you're doing is that you're separating yourself from your background. So you see my green wall right here. There we go. There we go. Right there. There's a shadow right there. There's my armoire, and there's my windows right here. Now, what could happen, because it's a lot of brown in the background and tan, I could kind of just bleed into it. You don't really see it. If I was using the light from my ceiling light, it would just kind of muddy everything. It would just kind of blend everything, especially when you're shooting with a camera. It just kind of blends everything together. You've noticed that, especially again during quarantine, and everyone was doing a lot of remote. People kind of looked bland. It looked kind of either really dark or grainy. So lighting definitely helps out with that. So again, there's a ton of options out there, and I would suggest getting some if you don't have any, or if you can't get really close to a window during the day. That's a really good trick when it comes to photos and shooting video and things. So if you can get close to a window, open up the shades, have it hit you kind of from the side, that'll be perfect. When you are shopping for lighting, the good news is there's a ton of options out there, and you don't have to get pro grade equipment. That's where all the money is at. So if you can find a good brand, just kind of look at the trends, see what's best selling, and you'll start noticing the brands, and you'll notice some things. I want to give you a price range because I don't want to speculate what your price range would be. But you can find some really good options. A part of the reason why cheaper lighting works in our situation is that when you get to the pro level, a lot of different manufacturers make them very strong. They use very strong materials, and they need to, because the idea, if you're a professional, you're tearing down and setting up all the time. You're going to drop it, someone's going to misuse it, so on and so forth, and it's made to keep going. It's made to still work. Well, cheaper things are mostly made out of plastic, like cheaper alloy, cheaper aluminum versus carbon fiber and all this stuff. So you really need just something that's going to just kind of be up there, and you're really not going to move it around that much. Even if you do, you still won't move it around as much as what a professional would. So again, if you have to set it up and tear it down every single time, or if you're able to make it stationary, a cheaper option will be honestly okay. I've had these lights for probably 5 years now, and they've always been a good standby for me. They're not very bright, but they're perfect for this podcast situation. So I'll show you what we use and what I use, and it works out great for us. So you don't have to break the bank when it comes to lighting. And then the last thing is kind of miscellaneous stuff. So you'll need a tripod. You'll need some sort of tripod if you're not using your laptop, if you're not using your phone, and even if you are using your phone, you may need, some kind of, something that's going to kind of stick your phone up. They make different, there's all kinds of cheaper stands that you can set up a cell phone holder to where that you can set it up and be able to record yourself. And of course, you'll need stands, usually stands for your lights. If you have, some of these will come with stands, lighting packs will come with a stand that already has it. So it kind of works out. So that kind of wraps up our gear. It doesn't really take a whole lot of gear to be able to do this stuff. It just depends on what your vision is, where you want to take it. Again, you're going to hear this a lot from our podcast, from previous episodes, but the best thing to do is just to get going. So if you only have a cell phone, use your cell phone. The more episodes you do, you'll find out tricks and things that will help you make it better, to add production value to your podcast. And then you'll just kind of go with it and find out what other people do, like what you're doing now, listen to our podcast about how we produce a podcast. And then eventually you can level up and to be able to get better things if you want. If not, rock your cell phone, rock your laptop. It's been doing fine for April, so just go with it if that's what you want to do. For me, I don't want to go that route. I would rather go a video camera, and all of it's okay. If you find this beneficial, please give us a like, share this. If you know someone that you've talked to about starting a podcast, or you've heard them mention it, share this episode with them. And also, we would love to get in contact with anyone that has questions about gear, about how to use it, about you run into a snag, how can I help? Or can you help me out? We would love to. Because if you've had a conversation with someone about starting a podcast, or you've heard someone mention they're going to start a podcast, but they don't really know how to get going, share this podcast with them, because we would love to help them. And we're all kind of doing this together because we dream media.